Welcome to lesson number 24 in the Course in Miracles. I do not perceive my own best interest. In no situation that arises do you realize the outcome that would make you happy. Therefore, you have no guide to appropriate action and no way of judging the result. What you do is determined by your perception of the situation, and that perception is wrong. I will stop there for some reflections and also a confession that new viewers haven't heard me saying, and returning ones have heard me already, that when I came across this book in the 90s, it was very hard for me to take in what it said, because I heard a very demanding voice in these pages in the book Course in Miracles, and the text was too blunt. It was too straightforward. Now when I read the same bluntness and the same straightforwardness, it's a relief, because what is in the text is not negotiable, and it's just like, this is the way it is. So therefore I've chosen to go on YouTube with my own reflections and learning process, because it's easy in one way, because it's very clear, literally very clear in what it says. No openings for interpretations like that, although I use the word have I interpreted it, but it's not really that kind of interpretation like, wow, no, this is letter by letter to be understood. On the other hand, it is not so easy, because for me as a human being, to unlearn decades of building my own perception, it's not that easy. I'm not a computer. You take out the hard disk and put in another one. So unlearning it doesn't come overnight. For me, at last, it does for some people. They are lucky, but this is a process. Anyway, the bluntness, and this lesson especially is very blunt, because it tells me that I do not know my own best. No, I don't. So I will go ahead with that. So, it tells me, what you do is determined by your perception of the situation, and that perception is wrong. It is inevitable then that you will not serve your own best interest. Yet, they are your only goal in any situation which is correctly perceived. Yet they are my interests. My interests are my only goal in any situation which is correctly perceived. And this is what we're doing. We are correcting our way of seeing the world, so that when it is corrected, we will act towards the goal that is in our best interest. Who would not say yes to that? So I will continue with bits and pieces of the text. If you realized that you do not perceive your own best interests, you could be taught what they are. If you realize that you do not perceive your own best interest, you could be taught what they are. I want to be taught what my best interests are. But in the presence of your conviction that you do know what they are, you cannot learn. So, openness and humbleness is requested of me. Do I have it? Do I have what it takes? We'll see. And as I have been mentioning quite a few times, and it's worth mentioning again and again, when I heard Eckhart Tolle 8 years ago, live on stage in Oslo, he said that the Course in Miracles should not be read by the intellect. If you try to understand it with the intellect, one might not be able to continue or, get through it, because it's a massive text. So just read it. Just read the lessons. Go ahead. And I did. And I do. Anyway. Yeah. The practice period will come here. We'll see how I will deal with that, because one is asked to be very honest about this, and I will not bore you with too much of my own personal honesty about reflecting on the world and the corrections and what I have in my own baggage and everything. But let's see how we could form the lesson and the reflections in spite of that. Well, the exercises for today, they require much more honesty than you are accustomed to using. And I think we have been asked to use a lot of honesty already, so we'll see what will come of this. A few subjects, honestly and carefully considered in each of the 5 practice periods which should be undertaken today, will be more helpful than a more cursory examination of a large number. 2 minutes are suggested for each of the mind-searching periods which the exercise involve. All right. So we should, repeating the idea for today, that is that I don't perceive my own best interest. And then I go ahead with the fill-in-blank practice. We will see where it will lead me. Maybe it will not lead me anywhere right now, but I assure you that I will contemplate this, and I don't want to, laundry my own stuff in these lessons on YouTube, because it could be uncomfortable for listeners. It could be also uncomfortable for me, but still, the honesty and the willingness to be open that yes, I don't get the situation I'm in life, and I haven't been getting them, and therefore I didn't know the best outcome for me. Will I live like that in the future? No. I want to be open and see see life and everything with new eyes. Won't you? So the laundry will be done, and the exercise will be done in between the shooting sessions on YouTube. The text tells me here that when I do the lesson and I start doing this exercise, I will quickly realize that I have a number of goals in mind as part of the outcome. Well, yeah, I can have many, to an extent that it can be quite confusing. And confusion is one of the obstacles we do have to deal with in life, and we are dealing with it with this text, because it will take us out of the confusion. So in applying the idea for today, name each situation that occurs to you, and then enumerate carefully as many as possible, as many goals as possible, that I would like to be met in this resolution. Yeah. And this could have, this could be, I presume, in everyday life. Oh, if I could have that job with another salary or located in another part of, in relation to my home, or if I could have another partner, or if I could have another this and that. If I could, should I live in this country? Should I do this and that? All the choices. Life is full of choices. And how do I make choices? That is also interesting. And I could do a whole lesson apart from A Course in Miracles on that, but I won't. But I have one thing to say, and that is that I strongly believe that if a person feels that the person is a part of something bigger, a collective in the world of, because we are not separate, we are all a part of each other, then the future will not be so full of how should I put it? We would not project fear so much into the future as we all, as at least and I know that I'm not alone. I will not generalize and say everybody. No, I don't know anything about that. Maybe people are totally cool with their future, but I can project a lot of fear into my future based on things that I think are facts from past experiences and pure fantasy stuff. So unlearning away from fear is a big help. How do we do that? The answer is in this book. So I think I will not fill in blanks in this lesson now, but I will read the filling blank suggestion, the practice. In the situation involving, it could be moving from Sweden. I live in Sweden. It could be moving from Sweden to Japan. My son lives in Japan. Maybe it would be better for me to live in Japan. In the situation involving moving from Sweden, I would like magic to happen. So I have 2 houses, one in Sweden and one in Japan. And work situation changed so I could live there forever. I'm just playing with this now, totally unprepared, and so on. Try to cover as many different kinds of outcomes as may honestly occur to you. Oh, when I said this about Sweden and Tokyo and houses and job and what, it went like a carousel, a merry-go-round in my head of opportunities, this and that, and maybe another country, and maybe not Japan, and started growing, and that could be fun too. But if I have no problem with the different outcomes here. But I have to keep in mind that they may not serve me. If these exercises are done properly, and I have no idea if I even was in the near to do this properly, and it is not my intention to be fun here, but this is a hard lesson, and I'm trying to lighten it up a bit for my own sake. In this exercise, if they are done properly, you will quickly recognize that you are making a large number of demands, yes I did, of the situation, which have nothing to do with it. Now I will keep that in mind, because honestly, I am thinking a lot about life situation and maybe a major life change, and that That's normal. We do that once in a while in our lives. We maybe have certain birthdays, or children are moving out, or whatever. We come to it. Is this really my life? Should I really continue with this? Wow! And then decision making, and it goes. So maybe I don't have to be that uptight. Maybe there is another way. Not maybe, there is another way. All right. You will also recognize that many of your goals are contradictory. They were. I could hear myself talking. They were contradictory. That you have no unified outcome in mind. No. And you must experience disappointment. Yes. In connection with some of your goal. I did. However the situation turns out. Yeah. After covering the list of as many hoped-for goals as possible, for each unresolved situation that crosses your mind, say to yourself, I do not perceive my own best interest in this situation, and go on to the next one. What I take with me from reading this quite hard lesson, number 24, is my own longing in my life in different ages, my own longing for answers and what is coming, what is there to be. Que sera, sera. Whatever will be, will be. The future is not ours to see, que sera. We want to know why, because there is fear. If there were no fear, we wouldn't be so eager to have the answers. Would one? I wouldn't. So it is fear related. And the longing to have the answers and to know and have the navigation map. Okay, so here I am. Teresa is born here. Okay, 1960 in Stockholm, born. And then she becomes 5 and 10 and 15 years old and 25. And she was going around me with no navigation map. But she would have loved to have one to know, okay, this is my direction and I know everything is cool and I will do that. No, nobody comes into life with that, I guess. Although it seems that some people actually do know where they're going and they go there. Well, I'm not one of them. So for me, it's a journey of exploring. And a lot of fear comes with that because you don't know. So what can you trust? What can you not trust? Can you trust yourself? Can you trust people? Can you trust your family? And what is trust? Is it not to feel scarcity? Not to have any fear? Is it to be stupid? I don't know. But the text tells me that if this is the case in my life, if we feel that something could be calibrated in another way, and I think that if we look for a path where we come across A Course in Miracles, we have all been feeling that something could be in another way, and therefore we search for it, we look for it, and then we come across it, and then we try to discover it, because our lives will become easier, then it's a wonderful way to sharing this feeling of unease and knowing that there is a way out of this very uncomfortable feeling. And as we open ourselves to this in a very humble way and with a lot of love and forgiveness towards ourselves, that is important, because one can actually be quite tough to oneself. Why did I make that decision, or why did I do that or say that? And to be really forgiving, and that is to relax, and that is to open oneself to another way. And I am that other way if I open myself and relax and just determine myself to start seeing and meeting myself and other people with another kind of attitude. It doesn't say that the attitude was bad. We all do our best and be very nice human beings and fellow beings. And it could be even easier. So I will stop there. And as I said, I will do a bit of a contemplation on this, because it actually was kind of confusing to sit in front of a camera and doing a video that cannot be too long, not hours and hours, and all these different kind of outcomes did occur in my head when I started thinking about my life situation. And you know, when we start thinking about our life situation, it's never easy. Not 3 o'clock in the morning, not 5 o'clock in the afternoon, never. Because usually, sometimes we go like, oh, my life situation it rocks. But maybe not all the time. So the life situation usually comes with a lot of snowball effects, never ending. This was the purpose with this lesson, because none of them is for my own good, but I'm unlearning, and it will be cool in the end. So thank you for listening.